All right, let's talk about the Michigan Wolverines. Look, obviously headed back to the college football playoff, big game against Alabama a few weeks from now. But one of the things we've seen in terms of after effects of Michigan's relatively newfound dominance over the Big Ten, and namely over Ohio State, is we're starting to see Ohio State kind of crumble a little bit, right? For a number of years, especially with Urban Meyer at the helm, Ohio State was one of the more solid programs in all of college football. But the sheer stress and just duress that Michigan has thrown Ohio State has caused a lot of weird decisions and a lot of weird moves going on in Columbus. And I think it's just a sign that Columbus is declining. In some ways, I think collapsing, and Ann Arbor is on the rise. And we've got a report, big news that came out highlighting just that. If you want to throw up the report, this is according to ESPN. Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord, who started throughout the season for the Buckeyes, entered his name into the transfer portal Monday morning. McCord, in his third year with the Buckeyes, won the starting job early in the season after competing with Devin Brown. As time went on, Kyle got better as the season went on, Day said Sunday. He had a little bit of those ankle injuries that he worked through. He showed toughness there. Certainly the Notre Dame game, he played really well down the stretch. I think there was growth there for sure, and I think he's a good quarterback. I do. After every year, you evaluate everything and trying to figure out what to do next. But I think there was a lot of progress made this year. Wide receiver Julian Fleming, ESPN's number one recruit in the 2020 class, also announced he'd be entering the portal on Monday. All right, so this really kind of shook the college football world by storm. I think this is what Ryan Day is doing here. I think this is 100% him. I think it's almost undeniable. Is he can't understand why he's losing to Michigan. He just can't. He just doesn't have answers, right? The old Harbaugh statement about Day, I think, is proving itself to be true, where Day, born on third base, thinking he hit triple. Day just thinks that he should obliterate Michigan every single season. He can't figure out why he keeps losing, right? He blamed the defensive strategy, so they changed up the defensive strategy with Knowles, their defensive coordinator. It didn't help him again against Michigan this time. Now he's blaming Kyle McCord, conveniently forgetting that they had a great quarterback last two seasons in C.J. Stroud, who's dominating the NFL, and he could not beat Michigan with Stroud either. It just seems to me that Ryan Day right now at this point is just totally just collapsing in on himself. And I give a lot of credit to Michigan because they're doing it to him, right? This is exactly what it is. They are living rent-free in Ryan Day's head. And obviously beating Ohio State Michigan fans, I'm sure you really appreciate that. Makes you feel good about yourself. But I think the after effects, the kind of shock waves that Michigan is doing to Ohio State, even after the game, I think maybe even more impressive than the victories. Myas, I'm curious what your thoughts are on everything with what I think this is what Michigan is doing to Ohio State, causing sort of a lot of damage to that program, which of course would be good for the Wolverines. But Michigan fans, obviously you got a big game coming up in a few weeks, chances to get to the college football national title if you can get past a very frisky, very, very good Alabama Crimson Tide team, excuse me. Give us your prediction right now. Obviously, there's a few weeks out. We'll see when it gets a little closer. Give us your first thoughts on prediction for a final score, Alabama versus Michigan, in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on everything going down at Ohio State right now and how Michigan's just stress of beating them 3 straight times is just causing this program all kinds of trouble?
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to Ryan Day's words, especially about Kyle McCord, because like you said, there's some other guys that have left too. The wide receiver Julian Fleming, running back Edward Pryor is out as well. And this is just early. This is like beginning of the transfer portal period. So we have yet to see what exactly will conspire there. But you hear, and it's almost like Day, he's like, well, time went on. Kyle McCord got better. He battled through some injuries. We're doing it. It's almost like he's like, well, all this we did good here. I just don't understand why this is happening. I don't get it. Well, you think, we improved here. We did this good. I think you made a lot of progress. I was looking forward to next year. It's almost like, a guy in disbelief. He doesn't know what's going on. He's really kind of shaken that, I thought we had something good going. And now 3 years in a row, we don't do what we're supposed to do. Because if you have a rivalry, if your team has rivalry, any team with a true rivalry, you look at around the college football universe. You look at the Ohio State Michigans. You look at like South Carolina Gamecocks versus the Clemson Tigers. You look at those teams. Really, outside of going to the college football playoff, that's the only game that matters for you as a team. If you can't beat the other team, it doesn't matter. If you lose every game that season, but somehow beat your rival, you still feel okay. You're like, well, at least we beat our rival. And for 3 years in a row, with some really solid teams, Ohio State has not been able to do that. And it's really taken this team to the core. It's caused people to leave, caused quarterbacks to transfer. And I think this is just showing Michigan is on the rise. Michigan is back. And I love this because, like Day says they've had a lot of growth. They've had a lot, not very much controversy. They've been able to go through things relatively easily, still not do it. Michigan, on the other hand, controversy after controversy after controversy, struggle after strife, but it's like iron sharpening iron. Michigan prevails through and they're able to keep doing it. I think it just shows Michigan is the epitome of mental toughness. Ohio State, when the wind blows, they're not really that mentally tough. It's going to take them out. So, Nick, I think this shows Michigan is overall just a more mentally tough program.
No, I agree with you 100%. And look, I don't know about the conversations between McCord and Day. Look, I'm just kind of speculating here. But based on everything that's transpired, right, there's still another bowl game to be played, right? There's still a lot of things that could happen. For Kyle McCord to announce a transfer portal this early, to me, it feels like after the college football playoff announcement was made, maybe even before that, that Ryan Day called McCord into his office and they had a meeting. And Ryan Day, again, grown adult, supposedly talking to a college kid, blamed the loss to Michigan on him, which is absolutely ridiculous. And if you look at the numbers, by the way, comparing McCord with JJ McCarthy's more efficient. His completion percentage is higher. McCord's got more volume, but they're in the same ballpark in terms of touchdowns to interception ratio, in terms of passer rating, yards per attempt. Their numbers are the same. Now, I think JJ McCarthy is a little bit better just because I think McCord throws the ball more. They're a more pass-happy offense. But it's not like McCord is a terrible quarterback, right? He threw for more than 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks. Like, he had a really nice season for Ohio State in his first season as a starter. I think what happened here is that Ryan Day is he just lost it. I'm going to come out and publicly say it. I think he's just lost control of the program. I think he's lost control of the situation. I think at this point, Ohio State, and I think just what Michigan has done to them, it's a shame to me because I actually want this rivalry. I'm not a fan of either program. I want this rivalry to be like it's been the last few years, where it's a top 5 matchup. Winner basically is a playoff game to get into the college football playoff. If you win that, go on to win the Big Ten title. What's going on in Ohio State right now, and again, this is, to me, what Michigan has done to Ohio State is basically push them outside of the top 5 and top 10. Because if you have a starting quarterback who likely is an all-conference caliber quarterback, and he announces a transfer move like this, along with some other moves, that's a sign of a program crumbling and crumbling quickly. And I think if you're a Wolverines fan, look, you've had a few tough programs yourself, a tough coaching struggles. Obviously, Brady Hoke era wasn't very good. For example, Rich Rodriguez era wasn't very good either. But look, I tell you what, Michigan fans, what you have done to Ohio State over the past 3 seasons, it is 100% commendable, because this program, Ohio State, was on the top 2 in the country.